There's 100 or so days of summer vacation when he comes along just to end it. Our class's problem is spreading data and finding a good way to make it. Like maybe Elliot, you and our famous director, or Patrick running on the Zoom. Kate and Eric making the cuts, or Peyton holding up the boom. Zane clicking buttons, making the stuff, or Lachlan mixing the board. Griffin doing sports, Seth saying words, or making our teacher record. Anyways, that's all of the crew, and we hope you all enjoyed.
I'm not on Zoom!
Good morning, Alaska. My name is Griffin.
And my name is Seth, and today is February 9th, 2022.
Omicron is finally letting up in the state with hospitalizations related to the virus down, as well as staffing shortages down. This signals the end of Omicron in the state. In other news, a deputy U.S. Marshal was shot while serving a high-risk arrest warrant in Antioch. The marshals did return fire, shooting and killing the man, according to the Alaska State Troopers. Now over to Lachlan on Zoom.
Hey, Dr. Almond. Hey, Mr. Claymire, and hey, Dr. Johnson. How has your week been?
Fantastic here.
Yeah, doing well. Thank you.
Busy but good. I'll echo what they said.
All
Is
right,
Dr.
good.
Is Dr. Almond cold? Looks like he shaved his beard.
Yeah. Mistake when I was trying to trim it, and then it just ruined the balance. So it just had to go. Plus, I'm going to pretend it's spring already.
All right. Well, before we get into our updates, I wanted to talk history because I've been told that Dr. Johnson used to teach history, and that when you came into the den in the past, you would tell a few facts. Because you haven't done it in a while, I'm going to ask you what happened on this day today in a specific year in the past. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Now, what do you think happened on February 9th, 1971?
1971. February 9th, 1971. I have no idea.
Well, today there are two big things that happened, one good, one bad. Apollo 14 returned from its mission. It was a 9-day trip, and it circled the moon 34 times. And it was the first mission to land in the lunar highlands. And then also there is an earthquake in California, and it was a 6.6, and it was one of the most devastating that hit Los Angeles. So yeah. So let's get into our updates now. What do you have for us, Dr. Johnson?
Well, first of all, let me know who your history teacher is, Lakeland, and I'll send them a note that you get an A in history. So way to go. So let's just keep going with the history theme and forget about politics and everything else, because the Olympics are happening right now, right? So let's ask Dr. Almond. Dr. Almond, where was the 6th Olympiad?
No clue. No clue at all.
So does anybody know what the current Olympiad is? This is the 30. I think it's the 33rd. Well, no, it's the 28th winter. It's the Tokyo was the 32nd Summer Games a couple of years ago. Well, there was no 6th Olympiad, but they kept numbering them. So the 6th Olympiad was during World War I, and then the 12th and 13th were during World War II. They didn't have those three, but they kept numbering them. The Olympics, I love the Olympics, but they're special to us because one of our employees at the department was an Olympiad. Sue Forbes was cross-country skiing, and she is one of our school improvement support specialists. And so it's really fun to talk to Sue. And then, as everybody knows, the university president, Pat Pitney, was a gold medalist in the Olympics. And she's the University of Alaska president. So last question, can anybody tell me what Citius Altius Fortius means?
Faster, higher,
Well.
stronger.
Yay, Mr. Claymeyer. That's the motto of the Olympics: faster, higher, stronger. So the last thing, I'll just read the Olympic oath. So when the athletes start the Olympics, they take an oath, which I think is great. We promise to take part in these Olympic Games, respecting and abiding by the rules in the spirit of fair play, inclusion, and equality. Together, we stand in solidarity and commit ourselves to sport without doping, without cheating, without any form of discrimination. I think that's a great oath that everybody takes. So maybe at the next din, Lakeland, we can talk about what the Olympic flag means, what the colors mean, and the number of rings. So there's some homework.
Great. So do you guys do any does anybody else have any updates or no?
Yeah, I want to say I had the privilege last week of for the first time, even though I've been in office for 2 years, the first time actually being in the Capitol building, to be able to do the work, advocating for students and public education in the building. So that was a special week for me to be able to do that, not on Zoom. And so it's so much better to see people in person and make those connections and build those relationships. That's what I think public education is about. That's why nobody enjoyed the online learning as much as they do in the classroom. And I think that's what good governance is about. The system we have with citizen legislators, taking time out from their regular day and their regular job to go make laws and make our community and our state better, I think is a good system. And I'm proud to be able to be a part of it. So we were down there talking, of course, about the reading bill in pre-K, which seems to have stalled a little bit in the House, but we're still confident that we can do something to improve reading and education for our youngest students, to prepare them for the rest of their schooling and the rest of their lives, as reading is such a fundamental skill. Working on still retirement and other certification things, along with, I met with Dr. Johnson as well in his palatial office, talking about the new regulations that the school board is adopting to help encourage more people to become teachers and make it easier for them to get certified. And so that's all good work. And then today, I guess the thing I wanted to promote here is that in the House Education Committee, they're hearing two bills, House Bill 272 and House Bill 273, that have to do with the funding of education. For the first time in 7 years, if this passes, we will be increasing what's the BSA, which is the base student allocation, which is the funding formula that the state uses to determine how much money goes to each school district. There's different adjusters based on region and other factors, but the BSA is that root funding mechanism. And we've had what we call flat funding for the last 7 years, where that has not increased. And you guys all know that have taken economics that costs go up over time. That's called inflation. And so the real effect of not increasing funding is that there's been less funding available for schools. So as schools, they have to pay the light bill, they have to pay certain fixed costs, and those costs go up. And as a result, that takes away funding from the classroom and from positions and other places that need it. So we are hoping to be able to, that the legislature is going to increase that funding. House Bill 272 increases it modestly for the next 2 years, and House Bill 273, which I think is a long-term proposed fix, would tie the BSA to the inflation rate, so that it would cause those automatic increases to keep up with the rate of inflation, so that the spending power of those education dollars stay the same. So I would encourage people to testify today at 3:30. You can either email your testimony in for or against. Obviously, I have a bias, and I've shared that already. But I would encourage all citizens who have an opinion on this to help the legislature by informing them of your opinion. You can email your comments in at house.education@akleg.gov. Ledge, of course, is LEG. So house.education@akleg.gov. Or if you're in Anchorage, you can call at 907-563-9085 and participate in that process and provide your testimony as to hopefully why adequately funding our schools is so important for you guys in your education, or if for our listeners, why you think that's a benefit to our community.
Well, that's a lot of good news right there. Thanks for doing that for us, Mr. Kleinmeyer. Now, Dr. Allman, do you have anything to add, or no?
Yeah, I'll just continue that, but try to make it 1 degree more specific, at least from a school principal seat. And I'm assuming that this opinion is shared by many school principals, is that when we can count on funding, we also have stability. And stability means we can proactively plan. And if we can proactively plan, that means we can anticipate students' needs and actually meet them much easier, because we can count on building programs that last multiple years rather than one-time fixes that are unpredictable and may go away from year to year. So just as an example, just because of the situation we're in, I think one of the silver linings of COVID has been that we have gotten some federal funds, which have certainly helped Alaska's education budget or supplement it. And what that means at the school level is we've been able to put programs in place and hire people to do innovative things. So to provide class support classes, we're working on a dual credit program that we can probably house at South High School in partnership with UAA. And some of that money would allow us to do some things that are forward thinking, rather than just always trying to catch up to the minimum or achieve that just normal balance that we have. So from my perspective, the ability to plan forward is crucial, especially right now when different students need different things. It's important to have some stability, and also, of course, morale is important. I think we all know that teacher morale has a pretty direct effect on student learning. And if they feel safe and taken care of and don't have to worry about having a job next year, then again, they can also plan forward and anticipate and do some things that are more rather than less innovative. So the practical application of that is just allowing us to do what we should be able to do consistently, and that is try to meet students' needs, which right now I think are pretty steep in some cases.
Thanks for your input. Thanks, guys, and back to Seth.
Thanks, Lachlan. This week for sports, we have some exciting news. The past weekend, I attended my first ever high school hockey game. Let me tell you, it made some history. The game ended in period 7, which means there was 4 overtimes, and Reed Donald scored the winning goal for South Anchorage High School. Respect to West High School, they played a fair and good game, and congrats to South for the new Cook Inlet Conference champions. In other news, it is getting cold at the Olympics with winds up to 40 miles per hour. That doesn't stop our own Keegan Messing from delivering a strong performance in short program. That's all for sports. Back to you, Griffin.
Hey, thanks, Seth. I have a question for you guys out there. What editing software do you prefer to use, Premiere Pro or iMovie? Let us know in the comments down below. And remember, if you have any questions, submit them at southvote.com and follow us on Instagram at SAHSTheDen. And as always, remember to keep
your claws sharp, Wolverines.